Hey friends, it's Nikki. I know this is kind of a weird spot. I never really film here and we're closer to my, I don't know, little photo section, but it's a cloudy day out and there's not much light coming in here, so I had to shift things around just a tiny little bit. I actually just filmed this video, but I don't like the way it came out, especially because of the lighting, and I want to make it a little bit shorter because it should be shorter. So yeah, here we are. So today I am going to be doing my very first book unhaul, and that's a little crazy to me because I didn't think I actually owned that many books, but to be fair, a lot of these are ARCs that I got when I was working at Barnes & Noble, and they would just appear in the break room, or my managers would bring them to me knowing that I really wanted to read them, or that I liked the genre. And the rest of them, I mean, I just said that I worked for Barnes & Noble for like 5 years, so discount, you know, discount. You guys know that I am a heavy library user, and I plan on donating as many of these to the library as I can, at least the ones that I owned, because I know that they don't take ARCs, at least Queen's Library doesn't seem to take ARCs. I asked. I'm not sure about Brooklyn or New York Public. As for the rest of them, or any of these really, they're up for grabs, so if you are interested in any of them, I guess shoot me a DM on Twitter and I can send them to you. I kind of have a lot, so I'm gonna try to go through these as quickly as possible because the last time I filmed this video it was way too long. Way too long and unnecessary for an unhaul video. So I'm going to start with the ARCs because I have more of those. So, the first one that I'm going to be unhauling is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I have kind of a love-hate but teetering on not so great relationship with Colleen Hoover's books because when I started reading them, I started with Hopeless and Losing Hope, and I really liked them. I really loved them. I'm not even gonna lie, I really loved them. And looking back, I know there was some stuff that I was kind of side-eyeing while I was reading it, but I was willing to overlook them for the fact that those two books utterly broke my heart. But when I read more of her books, I wasn't too crazy about them. I do have one still on my shelf, and that is Confess, and it's a very pretty book. Like, visually, it's a very pretty book. It Ends With Us actually took me by surprise because it deals with an abusive relationship, and I think it actually dealt with it pretty well, especially if you've seen some of the commentary on Colleen Hoover that's gone around BookTube lately and the whole book universe on the internet. So yeah, I think Colleen Hoover handled this one pretty well. The next book that I'm going to be unhauling is also a Colleen Hoover book, and that is November 9th. I'm gonna be honest, I DNF'd this book. I was having some problems with the main guy character. I thought he was a little, I don't know how to describe this, I don't know how to explain this, but I'll link somebody who describes it perfectly. But this is about a girl who was involved in an accident that left her with scars all over her face and her body, and she meets this guy and, you know, sparks kind of fly, but she's about to move to New York the very next day, and so they decide that every day on that year they're going to meet up on that day, November 9th. I feel like the majority of people really didn't like this book, and I can understand why. Some people really did enjoy it, and I think I could also understand why. Colleen Hoover is very good at breaking souls, but sometimes the ways that she does it is just not very good. Don't think I'm ever going to finish this one, so I am unhauling it. The next one that I'm going to be unhauling is The 100 Lies of Lizzie Lovett by Chelsea Sedoti. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I will be honest with you, this is one of the books that I don't know much about because I just grabbed it on a day that we were having a YA event and they picked me to work it. And I was very excited because there were tons of ARCs that we were giving away and there were some left over at the end, and I just grabbed whatever I could. Sounds like it's going to be like a mystery thriller kind of thing because it's following a girl who's kind of interjected herself into a current case following a missing girl. I think she suspects the girl's boyfriend of killing her. I haven't read it. You'd think that I would because I'm totally in the mood for some thriller type things, but it's just been on my shelf forever, so. Another one that I got on the same day at the same event is Replica by Lauren Oliver. I, once again, don't know that much about it, but I have read two of Lauren Oliver's other books, and that's why I grabbed it. It seems to be following these two girls. It has like 2 points of view, and so like there's like 2 sides of the book, so if you read from this side you're reading one point of view, and if you read from this side you're reading another point of view, and I think they're following parallel lives or something of that nature. I actually never ended up picking it up even though it sounded super interesting to me, and it's huge. It's huge, and I need the space. The next book I have is another Lauren Oliver book. This was the second one I read of hers, and that is Panic. One of my managers came up to me and was like, "You like YA, right?" while I was in the middle of like shelving, and I told her yeah, and she just threw this book at me. I'm like, okay, alright, thanks. But I super appreciated it because I guess she knew that not only do I read YA, but that I really liked Before I Fall. I saw a lot of people on Goodreads before this book came out, of course, comparing it to The Hunger Games and getting upset saying that it was going to be like a Hunger Games ripoff, and it actually is nothing like that, apart from the fact that there are kids competing, and I guess lives are at stake, but it's not unwillingly. Basically, every year the senior class in a high school gets together and they compete in a game called Panic, which is just like a list of challenges, dares, whatever that they have to complete in order to win a large sum of money that they themselves have been building up since I think their freshman year. Like, you start in your freshman year and you give like $1 every day or something like that. I don't remember if they get the whole sum of money or just part of it, but it's to go to college with, which I think was pretty smart. I mean, I wish my high school had done that. That would have been dope. I could have gone without doing deadly challenges or life-risking challenges, but would have been nice anyway. So I did like it. It wasn't my absolute favorite, but I did enjoy it. Like I said, I need the space on my shelf, so I'm unhauling it. The next book that I have is another YA book. That is The Haunting of Sunshine Girl by Paige McKenzie. I remember another one of my managers came up to me and was like, "You're a YouTuber, right?" I had another channel. "You're a YouTuber, right? Do you know this YouTuber? Because she wrote a book, and you like scary stuff, so you should have this art." But I don't know the YouTuber. I don't know the web series. I wasn't familiar with it. I mean, I know it now, I guess, but at the time I had no idea what they were talking about. But I appreciated it, and I do love a good scary book nonetheless, so I took it. But it's your typical haunted house story where a girl moves in with her mom, and the house is not right, and stuff's going on, and they're trying to figure out what's happening. It's a ghost story. My jam, but I wasn't in love with this book. Good news! They're doing construction outside. We're gonna try our best to ignore the chainsaw that's going off outside and the construction that they are perpetually doing in front of my apartment. The last arc that I have is a middle grade book, and that is Ava XOX by Carol Weston. This was given to me by Carol Weston. It is part of the Ava and Pip series, which is about two siblings in a family who are crazy about, I cannot remember the word. You all know it. I know it in the back of my brain. I'm just being an awful English major right now. But the word for words that are the same backwards, or make a word backwards and forward, no matter how you put it. That word. Yeah. The author is super sweet. She used to come into the store, not frequently, but you know, like often enough, and she would sign copies, leave goodies in them, like this little Ava and Pip postcard thing or promotional card. Palindromes! There you go. You're all like, "Nikki, hello." I don't think I actually read this one. I don't think I actually read this one, but I did read Ava and Pip, or Ava and Taco Cat, I don't know. She actually used to leave several arcs, so every time a new book in the series was coming out, she would just leave it with us, and I can't remember which one I read as a result of that, but I did enjoy it. It was pretty cute, and Ava has a love of languages, which I can relate to, so. Okay, so now we're getting into some owned books, and the first one I'm going to start with is kind of a shocker, I guess, because everybody has this on their shelves, I feel like, but that is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Yeah. I don't think I need to give any explanation about what this is about. I'm sure we all know, a majority of us have read this book already, and it's not that I didn't like it. This book actually has some ties to some really, really, really awful times in my life, and every time I see it on my shelf, I'm reminded of them, and I don't want to be reminded of them anymore, so I'm unhauling it, and hopefully it will go to somebody who loves it like it deserves to be loved. The next book that I have is Staying Strong 365 Days a Year by Demi Lovato. I can't tell you honestly why I bought this book. I think it was slightly because of some hype. It is just literally like daily affirmations, I guess, or little reminders, and I thought it would be helpful for me because I mean, I've mentioned it before, but I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I thought it would be nice to have these little reminders, but it's just not really for me because I feel like I would have to have something that I could take with me, and this is a little much to carry in your purse every day. And I think this would be actually more beneficial to maybe a younger reader as a good starting point to just kind of like ground yourself. The next book that I have is Train Man by Hitori Nakano, and I didn't actually get to read this one, but I know that Ashley Outpaged mentioned it because she bought the book recently within the last month or so, and it reminded me that I have this book. But this book, unfortunately, has the same effect as Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I look at it and I get kind of upset But basically it's a story of chance encounters on a train, and it's told through forum posts. So, I mean, like, look at this. I haven't had the chance to read it or to pick it up. I feel like if I ever did in the future, I can just get it from the library. The next book I'm going to be unhauling is Crazy Rich Asians by Kwan. I mentioned this already in one of my videos. I can't remember, several of my videos actually, but I'll just like link it in the cards. This wasn't my favorite. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't really like it either, and to be honest, I only got this because none of the libraries had it leading up to the movie's release, and I wanted to read it before I went to see the movie, so yeah. The next book, or books I should say, that I'm going to be unhauling are the Internet Girls series by Lauren Myracle. I mentioned this in my K-pop book tag. This is the story of 3 girls, a close group of friends, who are navigating their sophomore year of high school through their freshman year of college and just the things that they go through. It's a very much coming-of-age story, and it's told all through instant messages. If you're reading the original prints of them, if you're reading the updated ones, they're told through text messages, and they have more mentions of social media, so it's more relevant today. It's just not for me anymore. I bought these because of the nostalgia, I'll be honest. I don't know, I felt like I wanted to have them on my shelf for that reason, but I know I'm not going to be rereading them anytime soon, and it's definitely better for like a little bit younger, because it just doesn't really capture me anymore. The next book that I have is Dream Boy by Mary Crockett. Yes, Mary Crockett and Madelyn Rosenberg. This book is about a girl who has been dreaming of this guy, like the perfect boyfriend, and one day he actually walks into one of her classes and she's like, what's going on? Oh, the chainsaw is back. And from here, her dreams are kind of starting to come true, but so are the nightmares. I already mentioned it before, but dreams are just my jam. You guys know that I love books about dreams, and to be honest, I bought this one because none of my libraries seemed to have it in circulation even after it had been released, and I didn't know at the time that you can request for the libraries to buy books so that they'll be in circulation. This was like years ago, and so I just bought it because discount. It was good. I don't really see myself rereading it though. It's in pretty good condition still, so I'm going to be giving it away, or unhauling it. And the last book that I'm going to be unhauling is 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. I don't think I really need to give an explanation of this, do I? The first time I read this book, I was 13 years old and I read it in 13 hours. I will never forget that. Like taking breaks throughout the day because I was emotional. I think as a kid who was really starting to understand that I was depressed, and that at that point in my life I had been depressed for a couple years now, but I didn't fully understand what it meant to have those feelings and to have suicidal thoughts. And I feel like this was validating for me as a kid because, you know, with limited resources on what I was feeling, the whole revengey feel of Hannah's suicide kind of appealed to me. I feel like, you know, it didn't really handle the topic of depression and suicide very well. I mean, the first time I read this, I was 13. A lot of people now, especially because of the show coming out, they're reading it at very young ages. But I just feel like we need better conversations about these things rather than making it into this revenge fantasy kind of deal. So I'm going to be unhauling this one. And that is it. That is it for the books that I'm going to be unhauling. I am so excited because I feel like I might have enough space to put the Lunar Chronicles on my shelf. I have a very small bookshelf, which is why I've never shown it on this channel. It's just not ready, it's not prepared, but you know, hopefully it could be a little bit more organized now that I have a bit more space. If you are interested in any of the books that I'm going to be unhauling, I guess let me know down below in the comments, or better yet, shoot me a DM on Twitter and let me know that you want it. The ones that I owned, I'm going to be selling, not for much, like $2 if it's softcover and $3 if it's hardcover. But the ones that are ARCs are totally free, up for grabs, because I mean, you can't sell an ARC. I'm going to leave these books up for grabs up until about a week from the upload date of this video, and then I'm going to give the rest away either by donating them to the library or leaving them in... I don't think New York City has those like little free libraries that you see in other parts of the US, but I know that there's places to put books for free, so yeah, I'm just going to give them away or donate them. That is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!